June 15th, 2020, Anthony. It's another Monday. We're about to get the real summer season started. Hey, it's Monday. How are you feeling, man?
If it's 12 o'clock, it must be Glenn. We must go action. Let's go.
Let's do it. So, Anthony, I'm sorry I'm stumbling this morning, but I got to tell you, I've been wasting away in Margaritaville all weekend, at least in my mind, one of my favorite brands. And I'm really glad they're going to be here today.
Well, I went there right after their opening because you hooked me up.
And you're talking about the Orlando resort specifically.
It was Orlando, yeah. And there's one hopefully opening in New York. So we'll find out because we have the big chief guy in charge.
Yeah, let's bring on, big chief guy in charge, adjacent. Yes, no disrespect to John Colin, the president CEO who's joined us before. But right now we're bringing in Evan Laskin, Chief Investment Officer. Welcome to the show, Evan. Evan, usually Anthony and I have a lot more banter, but I'm really excited to have you on. I've always been a big, unabashed fan of the brand. You know what you are, what the essence of that brand is, and you've done a great job of connecting with customers. Congratulations on being with such an interesting organization.
Yeah, thanks, guys, and thanks for having me on today.
You know, I remember sitting next to you. We were at an event, and I remember sitting next to you, and you and I became fast friends. And there was something at ease about you. You were completely not a numbers guy. You know, I've been around numbers guys for years. I was as a vice president of asset management for Tishman, and you didn't seem like a numbers guy. So it was a real good feeling. It felt like you had that whole vibe of your brand of like it's just like let's do well, but let's just chill out and enjoy life. So. What's going on, man? How's it going, man? The last 3 months must have been crazy.
Well, yeah, thank you, Anthony. And I try to, not just be in the numbers and really to deliver on our brand and our brand experience, which is so important. And that's really what all of us do at Margaritaville. We're so here just to deliver on our motto, which is to create and deliver fun and escapism. And it's been really great. Joined Margaritaville team about 2 years ago, and just the growth has been phenomenal. And so we're now working on a number of initiatives. We came into 2020 with a great pipeline. We still have a great pipeline, but we've been shifting our focus a bit. We really believe that we're a leader in the drive to leisure destinations, those markets. So while we've been focused heavily on some new builds, we've been shifting recently in order to take advantage of the opportunities in the marketplace, which is conversions and which is really those drive-to markets.
Excellent. So how does that really play out in terms of what you're looking for? Because not all of your resorts are new build. I believe the first one in Florida was actually a reinvention of an existing property. So you've already played in this sandbox, right?
Yeah, so actually the first one in Pensacola, while it was a conversion, it was actually never opened before, before it was converted. Yeah,
I remember you telling me that story. Yeah.
Yes. So, someone working with a big brand got, a little frustrated with some of the issues that come along with big brands. And actually about 6 weeks before opening decided to switch tracks and become a Margaritaville. And then the one that really put us on the map, which was one that I actually was involved with, was Hollywood. And that was kind of our first new build and really is our flagship today. Although we have some new ones in the pipeline that are going to be competing shortly.
And you know what I love about your brand? I know Glenn and I have had this conversation before, is you're a brand through and through. You're a brand from behind the scenes, in front of the scenes. You're everything that you need at a hotel. From what you're drinking to what you're eating to the signage to the environment to the feeling, like you're a true brand through and through. There's not an element of the resort or of the hotel that cannot be branded with your information and your marketing. Whereas a lot of people have to go out and bring in experts. You guys have it all in house, and that's what I find the most amazing. You're the true you're a true brand.
Yeah, well, we say that we have the benefit of not being, one thing, pigeonholed into one thing. You know, when you say Ford, you think cars.
Mm-hmm.
When for Margaritaville, the song 1977, you know, till today, we've really become a feeling. We've become part of the American lexicon, and we're able to take advantage of that in a number of different ways beyond just, you know, being a song or being a hotel or being frozen shrimp in your supermarket or our frozen concoction makers. So we are able.
You didn't mention cheeseburgers.
These cheeseburgers, absolutely. And really, when we're putting together, you know, a restaurant or a hotel or an RV park now, you know, we say we're really putting on production because we do look at all those things. It's not just, okay, give someone a great room or give someone a great meal. It's how do we make it fun everywhere, every place in between.
Right. So when you're out there and you're thinking about creating a new property or partnering with someone, what are some of the things that you need to focus on when looking for a smart investment that's going to pay off both for the Margaritaville brand as well as the folks that are putting up the cash?
Yeah, I mean, do we have a reason for being in that location, right? We, like I mentioned, right now really focused on drive-to leisure. In general, even when we're looking at New York, right? We're in Times Square, Nashville, right at the convention center near our restaurant, Las Vegas, right on the strip there where we have our restaurant. It's, you know, can we provide additional, is it someplace where people are going to associate with the brand and we're going to be able to get that incremental revenue? We drive food and beverage numbers that are well in excess of all of our competitors. So is it someplace where we can get a lot of walk-in traffic to take advantage of that? Those are all the things that go in when we're working with our partners, because it's all third-party money to prove out that this is a good place for a Margaritaville.
That's right. And it's not just Margaritaville, but I think it was about 2 years ago now where you introduced the Compass brand, and you've got that going. Maybe share a little bit about how that upscale boutique hotel differs than a typical Margaritaville type property.
Yeah, we're super excited. Our first Compass ground up construction is going to open the middle of next month in Anna Marie Sound.
Nice.
It's basically Compass is we call it a boutique model. Call it select service rooms product, except we will have a full service restaurant. We have a lot of connection to the indoor outdoor space. We're allowing people to kind of go a little, you know, off prototype. Some are going to have rooftop bars, bigger pools, marina slips, that sort of stuff. So we're really, it's going to be for a location that can't afford to have doesn't get the rate for a big Margaritaville box with all the F&B and all the meeting space to still have the same sort of, ethos, but without all those other things that really, you know, maybe you can't get the rate in a smaller market.
It seems like perfect timing too. It seems like after what's happened in the last couple of months, it seems perfect. So before we continue on Compass and other things, I have a big question. I live in New York. I live in New York. What's going on in Times Square?
Yeah, so, you know, everything going on with COVID, construction of that was shut down for a few months. I believe they're just starting back to get people on there. But even with the site now open, we're still making sure that it's very safe. So, you know, you're limited the number of people who can work on a floor at a time, the number of trades that are in a day. So it's gotten pushed back a little bit, but we're still hoping for a year-end opening on that one.
Yeah, you know, it's almost impossible to build in New York, and now it's really impossible to build in New York.
Yeah,
you'll make it happen, but it's a lot of restrictions, I'm sure. Well, I'm looking forward to that one.
I know at the NYU conference, I was supposed to get you a tour, but we have some really exciting things planned for that property. Stuff I can't give away, but it's going to be really exciting, really differential.
Evan, I disagree. I say you give away all the secrets right now here on air. But more importantly, the NYU conference has been rescheduled, albeit probably in a different form for November. So we might have a great time to come by and check it out then. So hopefully you'll be in good shape and be able to invite us over at that point.
So Evan, where are you with how many hotels closed? How many are open now? What did your, where are you? Like, what's the status of the entire portfolio?
Yeah, so every hotel closed, or at least was pretty much closed. They're all now reopened. Some started as early as the beginning of May. It's been a great story so far. Again, drive to leisure. We are seeing sellouts almost every hotel every weekend. Very short booking window. Really good rates. I think after the first few weekends where people saw kind of that short 24, 48-hour booking window, they realized that, they're going to hold back those rooms, keep the rate high, which is
Nice.
very good for the industry. And we're starting to even see weekday creep up a little bit more. So we're really excited about that. Really great that people have started coming back out, trying to make it as safe as possible for everyone. We have a guidebook out there, huge checklist, all the properties go through. We're signs asking people to, be respectful, wear masks, wash your hands, social distancing. We've gone through the whole thing with all of our property managers to make sure that it's safe for the employees, it's safe for the guests, because we're in this industry is in a real tough point, right? We all want to reopen. We all want to get all of our associates back. But yet we also don't want to become a part of the problem in the future. So we're trying to make sure that we're doing it smart, and that we really encourage our guests also to take care of themselves and to be smart about it as well.
Yeah, and I read something this morning. One of your competitors just opened up a huge, I think, 1,500 room hotel in Texas, reopened it, and they were doing very well before. And they're saying that anywhere from $10 to $12 per guest room more in expense. With that said, there's going to be savings because they are not offering housekeeping services every day. If you want towels and sheets, they're not giving you the choice. They're just not offering it. So if you're there for 3 or 4 days, you don't get housekeeping services. You'll get towels, you'll get sheets. That's a way to recoup the $10 or $12 because they really are doubling down with their cleaning products and with their cleaning standards. And that's one way to recoup their business. And they're seeing the same thing you're seeing. Weekends are being almost sold out. I'm sorry, they're only selling 50% of their hotel. It was almost sold out. And the rates, because of the things we've talked about on the show, between technology and just the advancement of revenue management, you're not seeing the chase to the bottom. So, I would imagine your expenses are going up as well because you're trying to be safe. And are you seeing housekeeping services being cut as well?
Yeah, we're doing the same things. Of course, up to our management companies, but we've really pushed these guidelines that we've put out. We're doing the same, where we will deliver towels if you request to your door, but no housekeepers are going inside the room during the stay. Turnover, when we're talking about pools, spacing chairs, spacing lobby furniture, doing all of that. Yeah, because it's now part of the industry.
Our culture. They're having their first couple of meetings, and they're going from 10 top round to 5.
And that's something we really haven't gotten into yet. And now 1,500 key hotel, their business is big group. So our Hollywood hotel is one of the last ones to open. That is a big group house. We're still waiting to see. About 80% so far of the groups that canceled have rebooked into the future.
Terrific.
Fantastic. But I don't think we've yet to hold one of these big meetings to see exactly how it's going to.
I think there's an opportunity for some business, Evan. Glenn and I have been in New York, and we're a little tired. The show's wonderful, but we've been working really hard. So, potentially, if you want to invite us down to Orlando with our families, potentially we can make that happen.
It's funny you should say that.
Before.
Yeah. Hey, Evan, I had a chance to stay there last summer, and a couple of my friends and stuff like that are like, we should go down to the Margaritaville Resort at the end of August again this year, because it's a great place to get as involved with other people as you want, but be as separated from other people as you would like. And I think that really fits the model of this in-between period that we're in right now. Another reason why I think you guys are very well positioned where we're at right now. We talked a lot about connecting with that drive to business. Could you give us a little bit more insight on how you're actually connecting with that and getting them to feel comfortable enough to pull the trigger on coming and staying with you all for a few days?
Yeah, it's all about getting the message out of what we're doing to keep people safe, highlighting things on our website. Every homepage for all of our resorts has everything that we're doing highlighted. reaching out to our huge database of existing customers, welcoming them back, telling them what we're doing. That's really the key, is just over communication with all the guests.
Great. Yeah, and that's really important, making people feel over. But here's a question I have that I've been thinking about a lot, and I don't want to put you on the spot or anything like that, but how do you get guests when on site to feel really comfortable, but not too comfortable? Because when I was out in Vegas, and I've been getting out in public a lot, and the biggest issue I think we have is that people getting too comfortable, feeling too normal, letting their guard down. How are you able to balance getting people to feel comfortable, but not feel like it's last year?
Yeah, well, actually, that's one of the great things about our brand. And so some of the things that we've done is, signage, right? We have signage about, instead of just having a line that says, please stand here 6 feet back.
Right.
Signs that say, beware your fins to the left, fins to the right. It's
I love that.
Arc on there. To wash your hands. Well, the first verse of the song Margaritaville is about the 20 seconds recommended to wash your hands. So above the sinks, we wrote, here's the first line, sing it as you wash your hands, and you're doing a good job. So
I love that.
Yeah, so we've tried to add kind of those fun details in there, things to take your mind off it. You're doing the things you have to do, but it's not in your face. It's in a fun, suggestive way. And we're really hoping that people take advantage of that.
And also right on brand too. Sorry.
And very on brand, exactly.
In your brand, when you go to your brand, you're already disarmed, because you're already in a lighter mood because of your brand. Like, you go to a Marriott, a Hilton, all good brands, but it's a little bit more stoic. You look like me with a suit and tie on when you're going to that brand. When you're going to your brand, I'm literally wearing one of my summer shirts, and even when I'm in a business meeting. And I will tell you something funny happened at when I was there. Jimmy Buffett happened to be doing a little private party, and you guys invited me to the VIP section. And I get down there, and I hate wearing those lanyards with my name on it. I hate them, and I always leave them in my room. And I didn't realize that was my get into the VIP section pass. So when I went into, I don't remember if you remember this, but I went in to try to get in close up to Jimmy Buffett concert, and they wouldn't let me in. And I was literally 10 feet away, and they would not let me pass without my lanyard on. And then finally, one of your staff members, it may even been you, saved me. So thank you. The importance of wearing my lanyard, and Glenn, you know that I hate it when we go.
He hates wearing lanyards. Me, I love wearing lanyards. In fact, so much I sometimes wear them around the house so my family will know who I am. One time I couldn't get into the VIP area out in my backyard because I didn't have a pass, and I said, never again. I'm gonna wear that lanyard all the time. But
just FYI, one of my friends said he's been watching the show and he really likes you, Glenn, but he says enough with the corny jokes, okay?
Sorry, I can't help it. It's part of my thing. I'm a dad. I'm proud of it. I'm going to continue to make dad jokes. But Evan, I love what you guys are up to. So I'd be curious to know what you really think about what the investor side is thinking right now about long-term investments. This to me seems like a short-term hiccup, and we had on some CEOs from other companies that are saying, hey, they do these things years in advance. So people are closing deals now for properties that won't open until 22, 23, 24, et cetera. Is that kind of what you're seeing?
Yeah. So, going into this year, we had this tremendous pipeline. A lot of it was new construction. And fortunately, a lot of that has been fully financed.
Right.
So those deals, no one who is already shovel in the ground is stopping stopping that deal. They're all moving forward with construction, realizing that they're still, 12, 18 months away from opening, some sooner that are, New York, Nassau, Anne Marie, or even sooner.
Mm-hmm.
And so no one's stopping those deals. Some other deals are a little earlier in the pipe, in the process, are delayed, but no one's canceling. And then we're really pivoted, like I said, to focus on new conversions, deals that are actionable today. And deals are able to get done at the moment. Debt is tough, but it's more of what we're seeing is if you're willing to do a preferred structure, some sort of hybrid security, you can get things financed today.
For those young people in our industry that don't understand the difference between what you just said, preferred, can you please explain that?
Yeah, sure. So we're talking about something that's maybe either a preferred, which is more like senior equity that has a coupon attached to it. It might not be current, but basically the new money makes sure that they get paid before the old money. Or a hybrid debt security, which is it's a piece of debt, but maybe there's some warrants attached to it. Maybe there's some equity upside on the back end. So
Right.
it's more expensive capital. It's definitely more expensive than it was, but if
Right.
you want to get a deal done today, because there are some opportunities to take advantage of the market disruption, and maybe you can't go 100% equity, there are ways to get those deals done.
Yeah, there are. So we've got a lot of investors that watch the show, a lot of CEOs of management companies, operators, developers, and all of that kind of stuff. What to you is the Margaritaville difference for when it comes to investing in one of your properties as opposed to the panoply of other brands that are out there?
And
Panoply. We only allowed to use that word on Mondays.
All right, so let me say the many other brands that are out
yeah.
there.
So, well, first of all, we outperform on index. All of our hotels, we get our fair share of occupancy. We generally
Right.
fair premium to index,
Mm-hmm.
to rate. And that's really like half the story, because then we drive the significant amount of food and beverage. So when you're looking on a total, revenue per occupied room,
Right.
we really have been outperforming all of our peer set.
Yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense because your particular type of clientele, your brand is very much about socializing, interacting, partying, ingesting food and beverages and that sort of stuff, right? So
We're very family friendly.
Right, absolutely
Not,
family friendly.
not a
And
control
again, let me put out there that I took my family to the Orlando resort last year, and I had a fantastic time with my teenage sons. So it's, in particular, I love that water park that had just opened up front as well.
Yeah.
That was.
And I love, like you said before, I love that you can just kind of separate and be by yourself, but also be together. Are there, because of the opportunities that are happening, because I think some people are going to see the bigger brands not the great value that maybe they used to be, because they're going to have to cut staff. I mean, I don't care what brand you look at, they're going to cut their executive staff, corporate staff, maybe 20-30%. There are going to be some challenges between ownership and the bigger brands. Are there any opportunities to potentially, create a new brand to kind of fill another need besides Compass, like an extended stay brand?
Yeah. So, well, we're working on some initiatives. I'll tell you, you are right. We've heard from some of our developers that at the moment it's a little tough getting things done with some of the bigger brands. So we're here. We're ready to go. We're working on a lot of new things. We've actually been able to sign up some new LOIs the past month and a half. New hotel brands, we haven't been focused on that. We actually are looking at getting into the RV resort business in a big way. We have one RV resort open in Lake Lanier, and I was going to tell you guys, if you want to drive your way down to Orlando next week, why don't you rent an RV and stop at our Lake Lanier, Georgia property and see what that's about, and then continue on your way. And we feel that's another great place to be in the market today. RV sales and interest in RVs have gone way up the past couple months as people want to travel and feel they're doing it in a more controlled environment. It's actually something that we started previously. And we think it's really a market segment that we can.
RV sales are up 50% in the last month.
Yeah,
50% from year over year this month. Crazy.
Right.
Imagine if you can go to an RV resort, which is what we're calling them, and have all the amenities of a hotel, but staying in your own RV.
Right. And let me add as well that the RV business is really ripe for reinvention. I know there's a couple of companies that have tried, but that side of the industry is light years away from sophistication compared to where we are. So if you come in, you can totally revolutionize a lot of these properties that are out there. I'm amazed that they don't understand in a lot of instances revenue management when it comes to pricing. They don't have the computer systems in place that they need to be active. They're kind of like second or third generation type of properties that have always done things the same way. So kudos to you for understanding this is a great market segment to get in that has a real lot of, to hate to use a cliche, low-hanging fruit out there for you to make a lot of progress very quickly.
We did an RV park. I can't remember exactly where it was, on Route 66.
Right.
I can't remember exactly which state. And it was fascinating. The entire concept was fascinating. One of the things, to your point, Glenn, is we pulled up with our RV and we were 3 RVs back.
Right.
Now, that's okay. You know, you're 3 people back, but when you have an RV, you really feel like you're further away. And when you're checking in a family in an RV park, it takes a little bit more time. So we gave them a technology that they can actually book before they get there, and they already have their number and their lot, and they go right there and they hook up and they have everything they need, so you can bypass that. So just so you know, if you ever need an RV expert, I'm right here.
All right. Sounds good.
I didn't know you were an RV expert. I love that, Anthony.
Yeah, you know what we did in that RV park?
Yeah.
Because, again, to your point, there wasn't a lot to do. We gave them a whole new playground, and we gave them a $14,000 train.
Wow.
Where the owner gets his little hat on, and if you ever see it, it's a great one. It's Route 66. Get your kicks on Route 66. The name of the show. Maybe we'll break that down, and show that one day, Glenn.
Yeah.
And I remember pulling in front of the office, and I was in the train with my little hat on, and I was pulling a little thing, and I pull up. It's a beautiful train. And the owner was like, "Oh my God, that's so much fun! That's so much fun!" And I go, "It's yours." And she goes, "What do you mean it's mine?" I go, "It's yours." She was like, "Oh, you were just doing it for the show." I said, "No, it's yours." She cried like a baby. We all cried. Anthony Melchior crying again on national television. But anyway, RV parks can be a lot of fun, and since it's self-contained and it's only your family, it is absolutely a trend that's gonna happen.
Yeah, and then imagine that with top of the line facilities, bathhouses, and pools, a bar, maybe an F&B venue if it's big enough. And as you mentioned too, the ability to know what to expect when you get there, to book ahead, to know that there's going to be a congruity between all the parks. So we think it's we're really excited about rolling these out.
Right. All right. We've got a couple of questions here. How far from Disney and Universal is the Orlando property? I'd say about 25 minutes. 25 minutes from Universal. Yeah. But if you go out the resort and go straight across that major road, then you're kind of like in Disney property, and you're only like 6 or 7 minutes from the Animal Kingdom. So it's really, really close over there.
That's right. And you guys also take advantage of, like you said, the water park and the other things that we have on property as well. But
when's Disney opening?
July 12th.
Some parts, I thought, right around there.
DVC opens up June 22nd, but the parks aren't opening for a couple of few weeks after that. I do think it's around July 12th. If there's anyone in the comments section that wants to correct us on the exact date, that would be really helpful. 2 parks are opening, and then the other 2 parks are opening 3 days after that.
And you know what I love about your hotel? I used to run the Nickelodeon not too far from you guys, and people would come in and they would have 3-day passes for Disney World. And I'm sure you guys see this. They were 3-day passes. They go the first day in Disney World. The kids are crying. They're standing on line. They're sweating. Then they come back to the hotel for the second day, and they're like, you know what? Screw the park. We'll eat the tickets. We'll try to sell the tickets, and let's stay here at Nickelodeon. I'm sure the same thing happens to you, because when I was there, I didn't want to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it does. Well, you know what? Even the funnier part is, people at our Hollywood property stay there for a night to go before they go on a cruise, because we're right by the port down there in Fort Lauderdale. And we've actually had people cancel their cruise to stay. They absolutely love it. Or we also have people who will stay there for a night before their cruise. And then the next year, we've cruised every year for the past 15 years. We came here. We're not cruising anymore. We're just going to come and stay at Margaritaville instead.
Because what your resort offers, it offers you to watch your kids and your family have fun while you sit and have your margarita. It allows you can see the pool, you can see the lifeguards, you can see the restaurant, you can see everything around you while you're not moving, instead of standing in line sweating.
Yeah, we say it's one of the few places where both the parents and the kids can get drunk at the same time. Because kids are watching the stilt walkers, they're getting their balloon animals and their balloon hats, and the parents feel their Margaritaville, and it's okay to have a margarita. So it's a good time for everyone.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Excellent. All right, so we're getting some mixed messages here. Some are saying July 2nd. This individual is saying July 11th for Disney. That doesn't matter, because we're here wasting away our time in
Hold on.
Yeah.
Mickey said he's going to get back to me.
All right. So, Evan, how are you feeling today as you were feeling compared to 2 months ago? One of our listeners is curious about that.
Well, I mean, there's just, I don't even want to say certainty. I keep saying, the 2 months ago, say, well, there's going to be an end of the tunnel. A month ago, we're starting to see some light at some point. I'd say that light has gotten closer. We really are hoping that everyone, does things safely so that we continue to progress from here. I think everyone expects as things reopen, there's going to be some upticks, but hopefully it doesn't get to a point of a problem. We were talking about that before. So, upticks is to be expected as long as people are safe and masks and distancing and all that. Hopefully we can continue to build upon this. And we're feeling like that light is getting a little bit brighter. And we're seeing, more the financial markets, the debt is starting to come down in pricing. It's more available. So I think that the whole market is starting to feel the same way.
Right.
So the market actually is reacting today to a couple of states that have peaked again over the weekend, and the market was having. I don't know what it's doing right now, Glenn, but I know this morning it opened up. It wasn't.
Let's take a look right now.
The stock market got maybe a little bit ahead of itself.
Down 130 right now.
Some of that, but I mean, right now we're nowhere near retracing those lows. So hopefully it's a short-term correction, and we start to hopefully the hospitals, don't reach capacity, and we can grow. You're always going to expect to see some pullback, and hopefully it's 2 steps forward, 1 step backwards, and that's kind of what we're planning on. And we're looking at things we can do today, and then we're also planning for the future.
Yeah, New York went from thousands of cases 4 weeks ago, Glenn, to we had I think 45 yesterday or something.
I don't know the exact numbers, but that is approximately correct, I would say. Yeah, it's pretty incredible what's happened here so far. Evan, here's my unsolicited idea for you for next summer.
Right.
When
hold on.
Yeah.
I'm listening.
Okay. When Mr. Buffett is back on the road performing all around the country, I know everybody's already there with RVs and stuff like that. You guys should create temporary resorts that go from venue to venue to allow people to get either cabanas or stay overnight there. Because I know at the Jones Beach Amphitheater here, they let everybody come in the day before, party all day, and then stay to the next day. You guys could do that yourselves. Why not, man? So,
well, because our great Jimmy's great fans and our great Margaritaville, they do it already,
right?
We're following their lead. I mean,
but Evan, not all of us have that. So if you put up some temporary hotels, it would be awesome. I don't have to hang out in my car. I can hang out.
That's a good idea.
That's what I'm.
Where there are some RV sharing companies these days. The name's escaping me, the big one. And so maybe
World,
as part of our launch of this RV parks, we can maybe do that. That's a good idea. I'll have to suggest it.
And Glenn, just so you know, you do sleep in your car. We're announcing it now. Your wife makes you sleep in the car.
That's all right. That's only because I'm still under quarantine after being.
Are you still under quarantine?
Vegas.
You went to Vegas last week or 2 weeks ago. Are you still under quarantine and wearing a mask around your house?
That's kind of slipped again because we've got a little too comfortable, but nobody's sick around here.
So you didn't come back and get tested like you promised?
No, I did promise I would get tested, and then I wound up not getting tested.
Okay, well, I'm going to come with the swab. I have a swab. I'm going to come.
All right.
Well, I hope you were safe when you were there and you wore a mask.
I was super, super safe.
Well, thank God for our producer, Jeff, who had to keep reminding him to be safe.
Yeah, that's because I was very worried about the whole thing at first, and then when I started to get too comfortable, producer Jeff kicked me in the ass and made sure that I continued to be as regimented as possible with everything. Oh, here he comes.
Yeah, and I have to say I'm so disappointed that you didn't get tested. I literally got tested the day I got back, and I got tested a week later. Like, why wouldn't you get tested? New temporary normal, Glenn. Get tested.
I know. I suck.
And you came back negative, I hope, Jeff?
Yeah.
Yes, I am COVID negative as of right now.
Good.
Yeah. Well, I've got a negative attitude, so maybe that helps. I don't know. I'm not sure.
So Glenn will get tested, he promises.
Evan, now that they're done making fun of me, any final words that you have, any final thoughts, something positive to leave us on as we wrap up our conversation today?
Oh, yeah, well, really, just the only thing I can leave you with is a big fins up here. Come check out our places. New York City, end of the year, Anna Marie Sound, our first Compass will be opening. Lake Conroe, Texas, another one we're really excited about. A great conversion that we just will be opening middle of next month. Come check us out, and hopefully we can make you, one of our loyal followers.
And also I think what's really important for those kids out there that are getting into the business, or the young professionals, if you really want to understand how to build a brand or understand marketing, please do a deep dive on Margaritaville. Do a deep dive on their marketing, on their branding. Reach out to them. Reach out to Evan directly. He has plenty of jobs for you. No, I'm just kidding. but seriously, if you want people, because I'm building a book on personal branding. If you want to learn how to build a brand, what you see over how many years was the brand established? How many years ago?
So 43 years ago was the song. And the first restaurant opened about 35 years ago, and it's been growing into all the different business lines since then.
So if you look under the dictionary, under the word authenticity, you see your brand. That's what a brand is built on, authenticity. Right. It never shies away from that. Sometimes maybe you get a little bit too many products and you have to kind of corral them, but you're authentic to your soul, and that's what I love about the brand. And as soon as you get to your property or to your restaurant, you immediately feel different. And very few brands do that. You, without realizing it, you start to bring on the brand into your own personal space, and you start to feel it. You start to relax really quickly. It takes me usually a day and a half to relax, to get into vacation. When I get to Margaritaville, I'm there before I get to my room.
That's what we always say. We've been given this great thing, and it's really our job, not to mess it up, and second, continue to deliver for our customers.
Yeah, absolutely. Evan, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Excellent. So be sure to check them out, Margaritaville. Anthony, I got to tell you, as far as branding goes, man, they understand who they are, and everything they do executes on that ethos. That's why they're one of my favorite brands. It's important to say I'm not just sucking up to them. I'm not necessarily a huge Jimmy Buffett fan. I'm not Parrot Head. You all know, you can see the signs. I'm more of a fish head back there, different animal, different culture. But the fact is, as far as a company understands what they're all about and who they are, I've never seen any company understand that more in the hospitality sphere.
As they say, they're a brand's brand.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. All right, so let's switch. Let's transition a little bit from going from the branding mindset to the ownership mindset. Let's bring on our next guest. All right, we got a couple of real hoteliers here right now, Mr. Parth Patel and Vimal Patel. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. It is good to see you guys.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here. So maybe we could speak to each one of you just real quick. Give us a good fill in on what hotels you're about and all of that kind of stuff. Parth, why don't you give us a start over at Doug?
Well, thank you, Glenn and Anthony. I'm Parth Patel with VIPA Hospitality. We're based in Hot Springs, Arkansas. We have 6 properties ranging from all the way from economy sector, from Motel 6, and then we opened recently a home suites by Hilton in Hot Springs.
Excellent. Vimal?
Yes, we are with the Q
also
Hotels.
Have some properties in Chicago.
Oh, sorry about that, Vimal. Please continue, sir.
Yep. Yeah, so with the Q Hotels, right? So we have 8 owned and managed hotels. We have 3 third-party managed hotels, and our own 9th hotel is under construction right now.
Wow, that's a lot. So, Vimal, you know, both your worlds have been upended in the last few months here. Let's start with Vimal. Vimal, what is your current state right now before we start getting into all of the financial type of stuff?
Well, the current state is very, very right now tricky in a sense of financial conditions, in a sense of the lenders. It's a very scary situation to be in right now, and we don't know what the future holds at this moment. But it's not a fun time to be in as the owners.
So break that down when you say it's a very scary time. Give me an exact specific thing that you're talking about so our audience understands.
Great question.
Everybody is obviously challenged, but give me the challenges that you're thinking about right now that's scary.
So so the biggest challenge obviously has been in sense of the business that year over year went down about 85% down. So what happened with that? We reached out to a lot of our local lenders who are more than willing to extend and defer the payments for 3 months. But the challenge biggest challenge that we are having now, obviously with the associates who had to furlough before this PPP.
Mm-hmm.
But and then we have 2 hotels that are with the CMBS lenders, and we having an extremely difficult time dealing with this CMBS lenders in regards to communication, trying to get somebody on the phone, trying to get some communication regarding deferment relief. We're just simply getting nowhere with the CMBS lenders, and that's been the most difficult time. And as we're nearing the end of the 3 months, the lenders now the local banks would probably want to go now with the IO only for the next few months, and they're willing to work with us. But again, just to give an example, right now there are a few of the properties for month to date right now ranging, from Expresses to Hilton, Hampton to Town Place and other hotels, ranging like anywhere from 35 to 42,000 a month to date numbers right now. That's on the books. For this month. So it's a very scary situation to be in. Things have not picked up as anticipated. Even the state of Louisiana has opened up quite on phase 2, but that's where the difficulty lies.
Parth, let's hear what your overall situation is, and then, gentlemen, I'd like to get into a little bit more detail.
Sure. Well, in our situation, in the peak of the pandemic, we actually had to closed down 4 of our properties here in Hot Springs. We actually reopened them in phases starting the first week of May. And I want to piggyback off what Vimal said is, so 4 of our properties in Hot Springs are under CMBS debt. And all the local lenders that we have partnerships with, they've been great with working with us. On the CMBS, it's been a totally different ballgame. You don't hear from them. There's no solutions from them. Me personally, when June 1st came around, there will be 3 months that I personally did not make my payment on my CMBS loan.
Wow.
And it's a very scary feeling, knowing the uncertainty of what may happen to these assets.
Now, can you explain a little bit about the CMBS and kind of why they've been so difficult and why they're different than the other loans, just again for some of the viewers that don't understand that?
Right, but before we do that, let me just mention that the total U.S. CMBS outstanding is about $490 billion in March 2020, with $86 billion focused specifically in hotel and lodging properties. So loan defaults are expected to peak by the end of 2021 with about 10% of all loans. So that's an issue. So Vimal, where do you fit on this spectrum?
Yeah, so that's exactly what the situation is right now with the going back to the CMBS question was that the CMBS doesn't have any direct lenders to communicate. It's not like a local lender where you physically go out there, do a handshake, you have a conversation, sit down in the office and meet with them. The challenge lies with here is that the CMBS have appointed special servicers. And this special servicers traditionally are probably doesn't have the skin in the game. Their goal is simply to follow the loan docs and the language in the loan docs, and they are just have so many loans that they have to manage, and they have zero interest in helping the business owners like us. They simply want to execute and get benefited out of what they seem fit for their bondholders and for their Wall Street lenders. So the critical thing about it is that they have zero investment, or they have zero goal to talk to the hotel owners. They have not, as a matter of fact, till now. And maybe the strategy is to kind of look at it, each of these assets 6 months down the road, 4 months down the road, to see which asset has a value that they can pick up to 40 cents or 25 cents to a dollar, and that might benefit them, because that's the strategy that worked in the past for them, where the debt service coverage ratio goes down, or they put in cash management, and then they figure out a way that to find the default you, and then eventually foreclose the asset.
Right. Parth, what do you feel about what Vimal said?
I mean, I agree 100%. I'm in cash management right now.
Right.
So I understand how that is. It's the most difficult thing I've ever had to deal with, being in 15 years in this business, because how that works in a nutshell is all your credit card revenue goes to the lender first. And then once they take their debt service obligation, they're supposed to fund you your operations expenses.
Right.
However, they don't do that in a timely manner. I've had to wait almost in the past 2 months to get reimbursed. So you're essentially, I mean, hotel owners, to make your payroll, which is the most important thing, you're funding things out of your pocket until they decide to give you money.
Did you take the PPE money?
PPP.
I'm sorry, PPP money?
So we got it. So here's another issue. Every one of the CMBS loan holders, we had to ask for approval to even take PPP.
Wow.
Yes, because one of the loan covenants that we have is whenever you sign for a CMBS note, once you get any other debt on that asset, it's an automatic default. So that's why a lot of us didn't even get approved for EIDL loans, because that would be a loan. But a lot of us did get approval for PPP, but then we had to pay crazy fees to special services, maybe just $5,000, for example, just to be approved to use the money, for example.
That's incredible that there's so many restrictions in place that you have to ask permission to put something involved in your business so you could pay your employees and therefore maybe get some income so you could pay back the CMBS loans. Doesn't seem very logical, right?
And again, no fault of your own. If you're a bad
Right.
business owner and you're not running your hotel well, then shame on you. But when you just woke up in the morning and your whole life changed, and then you're putting restrictions on restrictions, and because of the way the loans are structured and how they're backed and how they're protected, because like you said, whether pensions or however they're funded, there's some protections. But and again, the government, we know, doesn't move fast. They have to move really, really fast, and you guys got caught holding the bag. So are you in any way in a situation in the next month or two of defaulting? Do you think that they're actually going to move to default on your loans or your hotels?
Yeah, so definitely that is the scary part right now, since there has been little or no communication part of it, and obviously the debt ratio, debt service coverage ratio has not met. The revenue has gone down, so there are plenty of covenants in the loan docs that obviously last 2 months, 2.5 months, we have fallen short of.
Right.
So the critical thing about it is that having to ask for EIDL loan, which we had. Why don't you allow us to get EIDL loan? We'll be happy, to cover some of the payments, and that will give us some temporary relief on the liquidity. And we are willing to take an additional debt as a Q hotel owners and our partners to kind of as long as we can stretch it out till the end of the year, because the other challenge is going to be that the third quarter, which is traditionally for the New Orleans area, it's a very, very big quarter for us, and obviously the conventions and meetings have just pretty much disappeared, and there's nothing on the books right now. That is another quarter is going to be bad quarter, and so we as a ownership group is willing to take this additional debt, but again, the EIDL is not being approved, and they want crazy $5,000, $7,500 just to simply to engage them. Whether you get approved or not, that's a whole different ballgame. And so that's where all the challenges are coming through.
And how have you been with brands? Do you feel like the brands have been there for you? I mean, you guys pay a lot of fees to brands. Do you feel like they've done the best they can do under the circumstances, or you think they can do a lot more?
So without being emotionally attached and and a politically correct statement would be
Good,
no.
good luck with that. Yeah.
No, please finish that. I didn't hear what you said. I'm sorry.
Said
What
no.
was that?
Yeah, so no. To answer the question, brands have pretty much sidestepped every little efforts that I have made to communicate in regards to whether it's assistance with their franchise billing to relief on certain brand standards to simply give a break on the marketing funds and some other aspects of it. The brands have simply not come through, and that has been the another critical part of it. That my conversation with the several owners and other leaders in the industry, that we are the business partners, we are their customers, and if we as their customers are not being taken care of it, how do they expect us to take care of our customers as well? And the biggest thing is this, that at the end of the day, they're getting the top line. Originally, back in a few years back, 10%, 12%. Now it has gone up to 18%. They're simply taking off if you look at the franchise bill, 18% top line revenue. What's left is that it's hardly, last 2 years it's been like 4 to 5% cash on cash return on
Right.
it. And that's been simply very, very tragic. And the cost of doing business has just gone up, but simply the relationship has gotten worse.
Parth, are you feeling the same thing?
I agree with him 100%. And I think one important thing that I want to add to that is the growth of the OTAs. There's so much a part of our contribution of bookings that we're almost paying double dipped on fees. You're paying Expedia, Booking.com, and then on top of that, you're paying the franchises. And then whatever's left over after that is, you meet your labor and your debt service and your other operations costs.
Right. So then let me find out what you think you would like the brands to actually do, because you talk to the brands people and they say that they've gone ahead and they've, you don't have to do pips, you don't have to do this, that, and the other thing. And I think they've been making a good faith effort to try to engage more direct bookings. So what specifically would you like to see some of these brands do so you could feel like they're being better partners and help the hotels and those companies get over the hump until we can get back to profitability?
Because to be fair, they have been decimated as well, because you're not able to pay the fees the last 3 months. They've had to lay off 80% of their staff in a lot of instances, almost their entire staff. So,
right. I think it's important. I just think it's important to not demonize anybody here. And while you guys might be having some struggles, they're having struggles too. So I would love to try to find what you would really like to see from them that's realistic, that they can help, that you feel that they haven't been responding to.
Yeah, so that definitely on that part, but mind you that the brands or they have probably about 500, 600, 700 million dollars worth of cash reserves that they can utilize it, right? We don't even have $100,000 cash reserves left anymore, so that's the biggest part of it, right? To kind of to extend sort of deferment on the franchise billing and so forth. But at the same time, while the cost of cleaning is going to increase and have increased, right? Instead of putting out relaxation of brand standards, I think the time has come to actually eliminate some of these brand standards permanently, which will allow us to do some cost savings versus having to incur this extra cost on the cleaning and maintaining the new sort of a post-COVID world, for the guest safety and guest cleanliness.
So Vimal, let me pretend I'm a brand guy for a second, right? So, but the brand standards are essential for our customers to understand the product that they're getting. And without those brand standards in place, they might not be as willing to stay with your hotel, which could hurt you in the end. How would you respond to something like that? What are some maybe the standards that you think could specifically be eliminated that doesn't hurt the way that consumers think of the brands, but also helps you?
So so there are a lot of the back of the house costs involved, which is really it's not visible to the guest, right?
Right.
You can start with a lot of the collaterals. You can start with a lot of this brand mandated training, which can easily be transferred to online training. There is no need to have such a high cost on the trainings. Some of these bandwidth related costs which are highly mandated, where your local service provider can give exact same benefits versus that. eliminating some of this, the HBOs and some of these mandated TV channels, which really and truly now most of the guests have transitioned to their own devices as well.
Right.
So lot of this cost can be eliminated. Even some of the linen costs, for instance, they are specifically designed for only 2 or 3 vendors. Well, why don't you open it up for 5 or 7 vendors where the cost can go down on this linen? So there are a lot of these things that can be relaxed and the cost can become competitive.
Do you think coming out of this, there's going to be hoteliers that are going to walk away from brands and just be independent hotels because they're getting most of their bookings through OTAs anyway, and some of the brands are starting to kind of look very similar, and then people really what the new brand standard is hygiene, cleanliness, social distancing. We all know that the carry out food now, it's not going to be room service like it used to be. So do you see in the next 6-12 months that some owners will not be extending their contracts? I mean, what have you hearing?
Yeah, so yes, a lot of the certain brands who are not happy with their brand, the owners are willing to part ways. And I don't know if you heard today or not, but there's been one of the lawsuit that's been filed against Choice, and so things that a lot of these owners are getting frustrated. And they want to just simply get out of this bad marriage, and they rather be on their own, rather be independent, or rather go a different route. But there's simply cost of doing business and the cost of dealing with these brands. It's no longer a two-way relationship, and this is where I think the shift is going to happen. The owners are seeing the shift financially; they're hurting it. Before, when the market was strong, when the business was good, they were not noticing it. But now they start dissecting all of the franchise bill, they're dissecting all the P&L, the cost, and they're seeing it that how much money that's going out the door, which they could easily save it if they were independent.
Right. Parth, how about yourself? How do you see all of this? What do you think the brands could eliminate in order to make life a little bit easier for you so you don't have to worry about paying your bills every 5 seconds?
I mean, Vimal said there are a lot of brand mandates that are in the back of the house of the hotel that a guest never sees. Now, I like training and what Vimal said. The one thing that I'm hoping for as a hotel operator that changes from all this is breakfast. All of our hotels are limited service hotels, so we have hot breakfast buffets in the morning. I'm hoping some of that does get scaled down because it's no longer a continental breakfast anymore. It's it's a big spread that we give a guest these days, and so I'm hoping that the industry moves slowly away from that, and maybe for the near future goes towards a grab and go. I think that's a big cost savings as a hotelier. Also, the loyalty program is a huge cost to us also. And I don't think they're going to do anything in terms of reducing those costs because it's so competitive. Me as a hotelier, I honestly see so many of our brands that we operate. We only have one Hilton, so the rest are Choice or Wyndham. And they're not as strong as Marriott and Hilton. So we get almost 40-50% of our business comes from OTAs. Mm-hmm. So I'm hoping as proportionate that our business comes from OTAs, I'm hoping one day that the brands reduce some of these marketing fees that like we pay 3% to 4% on an OTA reservation coming through, let's say Booking.com. And we're still paying Booking.com for their fees. When honestly, that's probably Booking.com's marketing, because they're all over the TV too.
I remember being in a brand and having that conversation with the president of the brand, saying that we're double dipping here. It's like, yes, you're not charging me for Google AdWords. You're not charging me for that OTA marketing fee. I get it, but then you're getting 3% of my total revenue. It's insane. So those kind of things have to happen. And those kind of things, especially I see you're wearing your AHOA pin. the association really has to put pressure there, because I do agree with that. But I would also say be very careful when it comes to breakfast, because the number one complaint we're seeing across all brands and across all hotels for the last 3 months is, when I come, I want my breakfast, and I want it the way it used to be. You can give it to me in a bag, but I still want, if it's a pancake, if it's a breakfast sandwich, if you said that this is what I was going to get, this is what I want to get. That seems to be a very touchy subject. So I agree with what you're saying. You have to contain the cost, but just for your own brand loyalty and your own customer loyalty, you have to be really careful. That's a slippery slope, because in the limited brands, really the only differential is breakfast. So you've got to be very sensitive. And we've done some, like I said, we've done some polling a little bit in my company with what's the number one concern you have now that you're traveling, and breakfast. They've either shut down breakfast, or they gave them a muffin and a container of milk in a bag, and that just wasn't acceptable.
Right. And the way I see breakfast is, me personally, I'm not a big fan. I just want that coffee. But Anthony, we've had this discussion before, especially when you're going away for tournaments with your daughter. The whole team stays there. They want that breakfast. It's essential. So what would you do if you were an owner operator, Anthony, to help alleviate things for like these guys when it comes to the breakfast thing, but still satisfy the traveling Anthony?
Well, what you have to do is you have to basically do, like you said, you do a grab and go, and you can also do it where your employees can dish out the food, and you have maybe times of what time you come down, and you try to eliminate that way. And I'm not saying don't eliminate some products that are a little bit more cost effective right now. All I'm saying is be very, very cautious. Go do some research and find out what the 5 items you use the most, whether it be the bananas, whether it be coffee, whether it be cereal, and make sure those things don't go away. As far as the eggs go, I don't think any brand does the eggs really, really well. How can you get the protein without maybe doing away with that and cost savings? Although eggs really isn't a great.
I find, Anthony,
I'll tell you what's the biggest cost is the Danish. Danish is expensive.
I had no idea. But I will say, when it comes to the eggs, I love Embassy Suites, for example, made to order omelets. But I find at traditional select service hotels, the types of properties that you gentlemen typically operate, I don't think that it's a great product, especially when stuff comes in the plastic bags and stuff like that. It all just feels factory. It doesn't feel fresh to me. It doesn't work for me individually as a consumer. So Parth, Vimal, before we wrap up today, I'd love to ask you guys out there, do you think it's possible for the major brands and guys like you to come together to find out a solution so everybody could be satisfied and you could retain those flags and be profitable in the future? Parth?
Well, I think we can, and I think we have to, because of the sake of the industry, especially with these CMBS defaults looming. And one issue is, politicians really don't have an idea of what CMBS loans are about. That's why there's a group of CMBS owners are starting a lobbying initiative for that. But to go back to your point, I think.
And I should say here, before you do that, I do have a letter here from Al Lawson of the 5th District in Chicago that you got in Florida that you provided me from May 14th. That is asking for relief in this section. I'll get that posted for anybody that wants to see that later. So please continue, Parth.
No, but I mean, I feel the last several years, hotel brands, whether it's amenity creep or just additional fees, technology fees. I mean, there's more than just franchise fees on our statement. You have so many different little fees. I wish I had one to email you. But you're almost paying 15-18%, if not more, of your top line revenue to the brand. And as any hotelier will tell you that it's very hard to make a profit at the end of the year as a hotelier. It's very tough. I mean, it's a competitive market. And then, I don't see OTAs slowing down. So until we figure that out, because I honestly see OTAs on some of the brands that are not as strong, you may, within 5 years or so, you might be getting 75, 80% of contribution through OTAs, but we're paying the same fees, you know.
Right.
So
And
hopefully we cover that.
that's been the biggest problem for many, 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 many years. And the brands have tried to do that through loyalty, try to reduce it through having the loyalty, and you'll see it. And in the last couple of years, you'll see that more, especially for their bigger brands like the Hilton and Marriott, more businesses coming through the loyalty program. You know, bigger brands like IHG, what was it, 12 years ago, when they actually cut off Expedia and Hotels.com from going through there for what, 2 years was it? I think it covered. So it's not that the brands haven't tried. The brands don't want those fees. The brands don't want to be able to go through that. But it's really an effort from everyone. And let me ask you a question. From AHLA to AHOA, it seems that it's just unbelievable how hard they're working for our community. Are you going to be going to the AHOA conference coming up in August? And do you feel that they've been giving as many tools as possible to help you through this?
So I've been yes, this the pro COVID, was not sure, but now I think I'm definitely sure, because again, with all these initiatives, not only with the SBA and this Restart Act, to kind of compensate some of the EIDL, which I had mentioned in my news story that ran locally here, with the $150,000 that was just kind of reduced from $500,000. And that kind of was not enough to kind of do what we needed to do, and what actually Washington intended for the SBA to give out. So with AHLA, and even with AHOA, we are in frequent conversations with the team in engaging them for the support and trying to advocacy and for the EIDL to increase the SBA loans to the CMBS, through even with AHOA in regards to the brand relationship. So definitely, it's the things are different. Life has changed overnight, and the industry has changed, and we have to probably adjust that. And then more owners need to be vocal, need to participate, need to engage in order to make things change for better.
Right. Yeah. Excellent. All right. So time to wrap this up, gentlemen. Any final thoughts? Maybe something positive from you going forward? We'd like to end a little bit on a good note. How are you seeing summer drive-to business, or just something else that you feel is positive? Parth?
Well, I'm in a heavy leisure market, being in Hot Springs National Park. We get about 8 million pre-COVID. We were getting 8 million visitors a year. The positive thing I do want to say is the last 3 weekends, our weekends are getting sold out. So last weekend, This past weekend, we definitely, I believe every one of our hotels were sold out for Saturday night, and almost at 80% on Friday.
And all the rooms are in the inventory. Are you selling all the rooms, or you got 50% occupancy to keep the crowds down, or are you at the 100% room available?
No, we are selling every available room that we have.
And are you selling at a rate that you feel good about?
Well, that's the thing. So occupancy is definitely back. I think rates are definitely down compared to last year. But I think that's just what they expect. Since a lot of us have, you're not giving a normal breakfast to guests. It's a grab and go. A lot of us may or may not have the pool open. We may or may not have the fitness center open too.
Right.
But,
so that's an interesting point of view, Parth, because we keep talking about how we shouldn't reduce the rates because it's so much harder to get back. But if you're not offering the same thing, then in good conscience you can't charge the same rate as you did last year, right?
Correct. And then of course, then our markets are based on our rates are based on what the market sets too. But I definitely see that the hotel years this year, we may not be as aggressive on the rates as compared to years past, because we just want to fill the rooms and sell them at a rate we can be happy with.
That makes a lot of sense. Vimal, what about you, sir?
Yeah, so definitely, we're seeing some upticks in a couple of markets as well, where the occupancy has gone better, right? So that's one of the positive things that we're seeing. But not only that, but I think because of these unique, COVID-19 conditions, I think the other couple of things that have kind of kind of transpired is the more awareness and more communications and more sharing among a lot of the hoteliers, right? Just like I shared my story publicly, there have been a lot more owners that are coming out, sharing ideas, communicating in regards to their drawbacks and best practices and things like that. And most importantly, I think AHL and AHOA, I think they've been in now more integral part of the communication, where before I think most of the things were taken for granted. Now that has changed drastically in regards to them reaching out to them, sharing ideas, helping hands, grassroots level, calling your senators and doing a campaign at the local level and so forth. So a lot of things have changed for positively in that regard as well.
Excellent. That's a great way to end it, Anthony. Unless you got another question.
Hope to see you gentlemen at the HOA conference in August.
Definitely hope to be there.
Definitely.
Excellent. Well, we will be there too, broadcasting live. So we can't wait to see you gentlemen there. Let's get those groups back. And we're going to set a great example by all being at AHOA in August. So thank you. I can't wait to see you gentlemen in person, and continued good luck to you. Woo! That was real conversation there, Anthony.
You know what? And I know you try to, tippy toe around some of the problems and concerns they're having. Because
I'm just trying to be fair.
Sorry, was I talking while you were interrupting? I apologize.
Stop that, Anthony.
Listen, we a lot of our friends, good friends, run brands, and especially now on the show, they're coming on. So the brands are great; they're important. The reason that owners give that percentage to brands is because they're valuable and they give that priority member to you. But I agree. I've been fighting for years with that backdoor OTA fee. I agree with them. So listen, we have the good and the bad. It's not all roses and sunshine. Talk about roses and sunshine. When are we gonna have Chip back on?
I got to reach out to Chip because there's definitely been some stuff happening, but we got to get on Cecil Staten, I think, the head of AHOA over there to talk about this particular issue.
We absolutely do. And it's so interesting. I didn't want to give a shameless plug, but my business, Hospitality Success, is perfectly situated.
Yeah. Because
what we do is we take you from brands to independent. And that's what I do. And that's what me and my partner do and our company does. Hospitality Success, go to hospitalitysuccess.com or Hospitality Success on Facebook. And when you go to the hotels, you can have hospitality sex. But hospitalitysuccess.com. And if again, I don't want anybody to move away from a brand because, I think brands are important. But when people are transitioning or they have a limited brand or a brand that's not doing enough, please go to hospitalitysuccess.com and let's have a conversation. But I just wanted to say, I said it before and I'll say it again. AHOA and AHLA, man, it's unbelievable what they've done. And thank God for them because they're having real challenges, a lot of these hotel owners with brands and management companies. And at least they're there to support them and help them and guide them. So,
right.
And they're good owners. These are owners. There's three types of owners, right? Owners that just give up your business and say, you guys run it, management company brand, everybody run it. I'll be over here. Send me a check. Then there's an owner that's kind of involved, that has a management company and maybe a brand. But then there's owners that have a brand, but they're managers and they're management company, their family, their investors are management company, and they're hands-on. They know how much money they pay for parsley. They know how much the eggs are. They know how much the shampoo is. And AHOA, that's the owner you have. And if you're a brand, you can't give them half answers. You have to give them real answers because they know the answer before they ask the question.
That's right. Yeah, that's absolutely right. So let's get him back on. If you guys want real answers, check out our Hotel Reboot Podference series. Our first episode is going to be on June 24th. And I say episode because it's very different than anything you've seen right now with virtual events. We're going to be featuring great designers, Kay Lang of Kay Lang Associates. And we've got Ron Swidler, Chief Innovation Officer at the Getty's Group, talking about how hotels are going to fundamentally change in the short term for the future, but also so you can plan for additional success. We're also going to have friend of the show, David Rochefort, president of Graduate Hotels, doing that. And tomorrow coming up on the show, we got Ty Turman, CEO of Propel, is going to be coming back to share his story. Of course, our friend Chris Green will be here. And Faisal Sublaban of Bonatel Travel to give us an update on what they're going on. Later in the week, we've got John Russell, CEO of Red Line, on Thursday. That's going to be a pretty good one.
There's two things I want to say. One, I love what you're doing with the Reboot. It's really needed because we talk about a lot of things on this show. This really allows you to bring pen and paper to the table and really take notes of really what is changing and how you can incorporate that into your hotel. So kudos to you. Hope it's very successful.
Thanks, man. I hope it works out. But really, the best thing that you could do is join us for Hotel Reboot, but make sure that you get continuing education through hospitality success. I think between this show and those two things, it's the real 360 degree approach here.
So that's how we pet each other, we stroke each other. I like that.
I know. I like it too, man.
But also our friend from Bonnetell, I can't wait till he's on the show. And if he's listening now, we were there before you. We got the Bellagio fountains. You didn't. You were there a day later. You were a day later. Sorry. We got there first. You know, Glenn is just ahead of you, man. So if you're gonna play this game, you got to keep up with us because we get up just a little bit earlier than you do.
Take that, Faisal. Looking forward to having you on the show.
I'm posting everything online, and I was like, "Oh, that's old news, man. We were there."
Totally. Speak about old news, man. I was so annoyed all weekend long because I saw article after article after article this past week about what's going on at Cosmopolitan and how no one's wearing masks and stuff like that. And it was crushing me that none of these people reached out to me to speak to me.
You're a reporter. You're a writer. Why don't you write the article?
I don't work for the major newspapers.
Yeah, but you can write it and I can drop it for you. I have a PR agency. I can help you out, buddy.
I'd rather just get quoted, not do all the hard work.
Oh, okay. Napping bagel. I keep forgetting. All right, brother. So, things are getting weird. I'll be honest with you. It's like it's because before the lights were off,
right?
We were all under the covers, and then we were like, in the living room looking out the drapes. And now, then we were on the front porch, kind of looking down the block. And then we went to the store and we're like, okay, everybody's wearing masks. And now we're getting on planes and trains and automobiles. And we're like, okay, what's going on? Oh, okay. It seems safe. They seem like they're doing the right thing. What happened? The stock market's going down because people in some states aren't paying attention. Pay attention. Wear a mask. I shouldn't go outside and feel like I'm the only person that's wearing a mask, and I feel weird. I'm starting to feel like the weird person because I'm wearing a mask. I'm seeing so many people not wear masks.
No, I don't know. It's going to be an interesting next couple of few months. That's for sure.
Okay, so what's your wonderful, beautiful quote?
All right. Before we do that, make sure you subscribe to our newsletter. Text the word hotel to 66866. The word hotel to 66866. Get a rundown of all of the shows that we put out, plus additional information you need to know. All right, Anthony, let's wrap this thing up. Remember, guys, you got one life, so blaze on and
thanks for checking in.
See you tomorrow, guys.